our top 5 from last summer consensus with the first pick defensive line rankings, and we'll kick the tires on these guys real quick before we look ahead. Number 1 in our list turned out to be the first defensive lineman taken, Mason Graham, 5th overall pick. Obviously traded down, went to the Browns, and part of that trade down there. Deion Walker, I still love Deion Walker, was a 4th-round pick. He was banged up for much of last season. Didn't look like he did in 2023 on tape. He landed in Buffalo, and I think it's a great spot for him. Tyleik Williams ended up being a 1st-round pick, 28th overall at Ohio State. Dante Corleone returned to school, and you and I joked that it feels like Dante's been in school for 9 or 10 years now. He's probably working on his PhD. He's been in college so long. But he's going to be a person we're going to talk about during this draft cycle. And, of course, Kenneth Grant made the cut, ended up being 13th overall pick. He and Mason Graham dominated in Michigan on defense last year. So not a bad haul. I'm pretty impressed with the names we got in the mix there. And I'll let you, like I always do. You want to give a grade to that group of folks?
No, it's another high ranking. I mean, at minimum, it's an A. If you want to be critical, it's a B plus. I was a big Tyleik Williams fan. I had him highly rated for myself. And like you said, with Dante Corleone, you just felt like I've been watching him since 2022. I know I have in my notes, I got grades from the last 3 years. So, and then Deion Walker, I think if he's healthy and is not dealing with a back issue, he goes much higher than he will. But I think we'll be I'll be using another Deion Walker reference here very shortly.
Oh, I got one too. I was going to say I got a Deion Walker. Look at those eyes. You see those eyes? But this is right. He just saw something scary. All right, let's look at Rand's list, and we'll compare it to my list in terms of our top 5. And Rand did extra homework here. He did more than top 5 for the 2026 class. And as Rand, as you noted over text, we are in agreement more so in this position group than any other we've talked about thus far. Both of us had Peter Woods number 1. And that felt pretty easy. Caleb Banks, you got me onto Caleb Banks, and he was a lot of fun to watch out of your alma mater, University of Florida. Kristen Miller out of Georgia is number 3 for us. Darrell Jackson is 4 for me and 5 for you. He's out of Florida State. And then Lee Hunter, transfer to Texas Tech, is number 4 for you and number 5 for me. So, I mean, there couldn't be more synergy in terms of our lists, especially compared to previous position groups we've talked about. So let's get into it here. First up, Daryl Jackson Jr., Florida State, 22 years old, 6'5", 341. That's verified. So explain to me the difference between verified and not verified in terms of these numbers here, unofficial. Verified means a scout's been to the school and talked to someone?
Yeah, so verified as a scout has been in the school and has measured themselves, and whether that's with the Blesto Scouting Service or the National Scouting Service, and the National Scouting Service is what puts on the combine every year. So they have their scouts that go through the schools and measure all these guys themselves. So that's where you get the verified numbers, and the estimated is what the media guide puts out. Gotcha.
And the estimated are almost never the verified. Unless you're talking about the kicker. And sometimes I think they even lie about the kicker and the punter, their heights and weights. 6'5", 341 verified. He plays everywhere from over the center, and he'll play just inside the tackle there, 4-eye. Started at Maryland, played at the U. He's been at FSU the last 3 seasons. Also played at the same high school as Josh Farmer, a draft pick last year out of Florida State, who was a lot of fun to watch, made his way to the Senior Bowl. And he was on Bruce Feldman's freak list in 2024. We'll see where he ends up in 2025, Darrell Jackson Jr. And here's the thing. Thick, athletic build, moves well laterally and moves well with purpose. High motor player who can collapse the pocket with sheer power versus interior offensive lineman. And I thought he was surprisingly quick for his size. And even when he lines up over the tackle, I thought he could take offensive tackles for a ride, too, with the bull rush. What were your thoughts on Jackson Jr. based on what you saw last week?
Man, it's a lot. It's a lot in this dude. It's a lot in this dude's body, and this is where my Deion Walker comparison comes in, because they remind me a lot of each other. I think there's just so much in his body, but you just have to try to get it out. There are lapses where this guy doesn't show it to you, but man, those flashes that he shows in terms of his raw strength and power, I think if he just becomes decisive as a player and just makes up in his mind and he just wants to overwhelm people with power, he'll be virtually unblockable. Even as a pass rusher, he's not going to get on edges and win with moves. But if he just uses his length and long arm guys, man, he's a dominant force up front and just hard to move.
So I had him as a day 2 pick right now, and I like to be optimistic during summer scouting. Is that too rich for you, or what were you feeling about his draft range, 272 days from now.
No, I like him as a day 2 pick. The only thing I'll say is this, and I know we got to get ready to go to break, but he's a 5th-year senior. And that's always a quagmire for me. He's a 5th-year senior, so how much better is he really going to get? But I do still see him as a good day 2 pick.
All right, well, let me ask you this, and we'll have more of these conversations as we get through this. 30 defensive linemen were drafted last year. Went back and looked, and it was pretty evenly distributed between rounds 1 through 6. Even 3 of these defensive linemen went in round 7. As we rank these guys, and Peter Woods is our number 1, how high would he have gone in last year's class that included Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, and Tyleek Williams were all first-round picks?
I think Peter Woods was still going 1. And I think that just is what it is, just because he's that skillful and he's versatile. And we'll talk about it when we get to him, but I think he still would have won in 1.
All right, I want to get you on the record of that before we get through the rest of the show here. I love that because Mason Graham a year ago, he was Superman the way folks were talking about him. And now, of course, the arm measure and all this stuff came into it. He threw up at practice once at minicamp. Everyone was angry at him. But we'll see how that works out. But I love the sauciness with which you're starting the show with the Peter Woods, number 1 overall in last year's class.